Okay.
Okay, here we are.
Here we are. Yeah.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everybody. Here's the meeting.
Yep.
Yeah. The first hour you didn't miss much, or you missed a lot, but it was doesn't need to be recorded. Um, there's yeah. So I mean, I think that the reason why like things feel simple, but they feel like doable now. It's sort of like, oh, okay, we could start sharing value like right now, like right away. Because
Yeah.
if from thinking about doing it in this, minimum viable way, then it doesn't. And I'm using Notion. I don't know that Notion is like the best long-term platform to use. It's probably not. But
Yep.
the idea was just use something that I can set things up quickly and simply, and and then see if people use it and want to join in, and people like the idea. And if not, then that's okay. So yeah, go for it.
All right. So yeah, you said so. You sent me the invite. This is what came through my email. Let me pop that on. Here we go. It's asking me to sign in a Notion. I think I've got a Notion account.
Yeah, it looks like you do. See, but we'd have to send an email that actually says, that's not just from Notion. We have to send an email, from HSC saying, hey, if you don't have a Notion account, you need to get an account. You need
Right.
to sign up for one. And then, there's like two initial steps that people would have to know before they.
Like if they didn't have a
Got here.
Notion account, that would be a little bit of different track than this.
Yeah. Still, I'm still figuring out. I don't know what the deal with Notion is. You're supposed to be able to like see a page if it's public.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yes.
like it shouldn't prompt you to sign in if it's a public page, and the page right now is supposed to be public. So I don't know. I'm still working on that.
Let's see.
I
Let
don't
me
know
open up because there is,
why it's
I don't know,
being.
it's taking a minute, but
Yeah, that's weird. It's not good.
there is a like this page in the Notion site.
Yeah, and right now this. Yeah, they just I don't know what the. Been having. All right. Yeah. All right. Well, here's your thing. Your thing came
So
up. Yeah, I'm having a little
so this
frustration
is
here. So
my
what you need to do, this is the second thing. So like you have to have an account, but then what you need to do is go into the holistic systems workspace. So if you have to click on Newman's, now you were in the
all
right
right.
place, but you have to click on at that top right, that little, see where it says Newman's N? Sorry, top left. My bad. Top
Uh-huh.
left. Newman's N. Click on that. And
Oh, there it
then
is.
yeah.
Well, hold on. Wait, I wonder why this thing didn't go. I'm just gonna do one more thing. I'm gonna go back to the email and see now that I'm signed in, will it do? Here we go.
Yeah.
Is that better? Yeah, that's better.
Yeah, so now you're in like the main, so
Okay.
so the idea was, and I'll just tell you what like is
Well,
not,
wait a minute. No, no, no. Let me go through it. Let me go through it.
all right, yeah, 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 yeah,
I
go through
think
it.
I've already got one of these. So I'm gonna go in here.
Well, you've got one because I set you up with one, but you could go through the process of doing it yourself.
But would it double entry me?
Yeah, we would just delete one of your records.
Continue to external site by following the link below.
Yeah, see this? Yeah, that's weird. I don't
Yeah.
why it's not an external site. It's just basically right underneath it. Anyways, we'll
Yeah,
let you
yeah, that was a bit strange, but okay.
we'll let
Ooh,
you
I dig this though. This is super good. Okay. Member directory, needs and offerings, value exchange contribution log. Okay. HSC quests or projects, a group chat, and then a calendar. Fucking love it. I love it. So I know these, but let's see. I know there was something going on Friday. Skillshare.
Well, yeah, I want to start doing skill shares.
Okay. I like the brand guide, which I think is one of the, because each of these communities that I join, like I take things from, and the brand guide, like all, I don't know how up the priority it is, but it's actually it's pretty good that it is, meaning that like all communities should have a member directory and a calendar. I feel like those are like community primitives. If you don't have a member directory, and that I can hear my buddy is being like, rap, decentralized, that's a centralization. Yes, person who I'm thinking of. It
Yeah.
is centralized, but there is like the appropriate amount of centralization, because and I know it's bad, but it's sort of like there is a delimitation between our group, and it can be very, very fluid. It can be very, very open, but it's still like one of us, and then a member and not a member. I mean, it's sort of a distinction of just general things. But I'm open for like non-membership. But anyway, coming
Yeah.
from coming from
Yeah,
another,
I think it also depends on the use case, you know?
yeah, that's true. That's true. But in this use case, we've got a member directory.
I mean,
There
in
I
this
am.
use case, like it's the whole, it's
Look at
like,
this handsome young man. Look at this
look at
handsome young
that
man.
handsome young man.
I've got to get. I guess it's one of my things that I'm glad you used this picture. It is like out there on the web and stuff for me. But I actually that's what I want to do. If there's any HSCers in New York City, or we all put money in so that we can get like good photography and pay each other to take photography. Like look at Zoe's picture. Look at Zoe's picture. Look at Natalie's picture. Look at your picture. All these guys have got super
Yeah.
incredible photos. And I remember the lady who took this. Okay, anyway, um, I would love to get a new picture, but this is what I'd like to see. So like, let's check out mine just while I'm here. Marketing, sales, operations, email, Newman@newman.com. Okay.
Yeah, I did this all
Yeah,
very
sure,
quickly.
sure. Yeah, no, that's good. And then I remember writing this out with
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I just took that.
Is this my LinkedIn?
I don't think so.
No.
The link is
It's fine.
actually still goes to mine. Yeah. No, I just, yeah,
Oh,
but
but
this
see
is
now
right.
this is cool because like putting in like my goals, like I do have goals, and now this is really, really important. And the cool thing is when like we look at Natalie and we see transformation leader focused on decentralized ventures, bridging traditional cultures, like all that makes sense. Ooh, I did not know that she had a
No, she
homepage.
doesn't. It's like Newman.com. Hers was
Ah,
you are the
okay.
guru.com. Yeah, yeah.
But it would be cool
And look at
to.
Nyla's. Check out Nyla's. Nyla's actually the first one to put in an official profile.
Aha.
So she actually filled this out, right? So this is
Hey,
like this is her real stuff.
where is she? Where's she based?
She's she travels around. So right now she's in Bali.
Okay.
She's based really out of either, generally speaking, out of Bali or out of
Oh.
France.
The reason I ask is there's a storyteller workshop thing going on in Amsterdam
Oh,
that
okay.
would be pretty cool.
Yeah, sometimes she's in France as
The
well.
idea sometimes that yeah, the storyteller thing. So what this tells me is it's like, oh yeah, storytelling, that's a big thing. I have like a whole, I have a whole project folder on one of these storytellings. These are all my like project folders.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and it would be cool to get Nyla, to sort of do a skill share or like, okay, knowing that that's the thing. Oh, okay. Now I just hit the.
You hit
Back.
just expand it. You
I
hit
hit the
the
expand it. Yeah.
expand to full page.
There's your
That's one
example.
that's my real one. Um,
Needs offering can help with business development and professional development. Needs. Need help restuffing and sewing up my fish pillow.
That one's
Nice.
a little silly, but it's actually very true. It's all
Oh,
true.
nice.
Oh yeah,
Digital handyman.
yeah.
Digital handyman. There it is. There it is. Yes, man. Yes. Oh shit, how do I
I think
go?
you. Yeah, well, no, I'll let you figure it out.
Let's go
Yeah,
back. Yeah. Yeah, I want this. I think this has a value. And then you could, although, check this out. So say I want to share this with somebody, and I'm not, this is not it is critical, or it's just an observation. I
yeah,
have to sort of share this big link. So if I wanted to share your profile with somebody, and I'm just opened up a fresh browser, like I get this crazy ass URL, but
yeah. Well, I think the
but it
idea is.
works. But it
Oh yeah,
works. But it
good.
works.
Yeah,
No.
good.
That's good.
And I think now go with me on this. I think the idea is that you can't actually share my profile with the with somebody outside. Like it's going to
Okay.
be. I, I
Well,
think that we.
I guess it would be if I wanted to share my profile. Like if I wanted that to be out in the world.
Oh
Um,
yeah. Well, that's interesting. I wonder if there's a way to adjust permissions so a person could share their own profile, because you can lock your own profile, which I think people should. I'm instructing people to do. But I wonder if there's a way to share your own profile, with the world. That might be interesting because, my thought is that I mean, the point is that like I'm visualizing, HSC as a gated community. The gate is pretty, the entry way, to the gate is pretty
yeah.
small and easy to get through. It's like, it's pretty, the gate's kind of like already like halfway open. But I do think it's a gated community because or people are sharing like more of themselves,
Yeah. 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 And
than
that's a very good, and so in order to sort of share, then it's not out in the big world. It's not super public. Like we didn't record sort of like personal sharing in the beginning of the thing, and that actually, I love the using that for recording, just as an aside. And that fits this principle of like, this is a space that's different from other spaces. So it's not that the one space is better and we're exclusionary, or like, we're
yeah,
setting up a battle or something. It's just, no, there's different spaces in world. There's like, this place is not that space, but we all are in the same space, pale blue dot style. And then we definitely want to remember that humanity first. We're all members of the same member directory at some point. Um,
yeah,
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 I get and it comes to me on, it's the cellular membrane. Like there's these, like the cell wall is actually a really fascinating like bit of science, like what like goes in and what comes out, and like how it works as a unit.
yeah,
Um, and so, yeah, being able to share a profile or lock it. Can I lock mine now, or can I work
yeah.
with
You
mine
can
now?
lock yours. Yeah,
So
so
if I,
you go in and you click on let's see, maybe yours is locked, or you don't you should be able to. Can you actually try and like write something in your bio? Maybe yours is actually locked.
I don't see,
Yeah, you can't.
maybe not
Yeah,
here. Wait a
let
minute.
me. No, I mean you should be able to just like it actually should be. It's almost like too easy for you to write something in your bio. Meaning like
Yeah.
you could like whatever, or erase it or something. Here, let me look and see. Maybe your profile is already.
Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, well, find out about that. I'm gonna keep going as far as
Yeah.
looking
You
at.
keep going.
So look at this, needs and offerings is fucking really cool.
Yeah,
Um,
it's happening. It's
so
the
here are
real
all the
deal.
offerings. That is really badass, actually. Here are the most recent. Nyla. That's really cool. Share category. Oh, okay. Like different by categories, I see.
Yeah, well, I started to. That's one thing that I started to. I think actually could be a really valuable and important like I don't know container, or piece for like working on for all of this is like a value share category, right? Because there's so many different things, so it's like, well, how do I, if I want, let's, I mean, right now it's easy. There's not much there, but like, let's say, this flows in 6 months from now, and there's like 400, 500, 1,000 needs and offerings, and I want like some marketing help, or I want some coaching or something. Okay,
Right.
well then at that point, it's going to be really helpful to be able to, distill by um
Yeah.
value
By
share
category.
offering.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see. No,
Now, why
a
is
need.
the
Here's the
oh
needs.
yeah,
Here's a so like
the
yeah, it's just
most
like you roll
recent?
in and you're like, oh crap, yeah, Rob will help me with digital handyman. Um, you know,
I
Nyla
actually
can
need
help
to
me
show.
with brand strategy. And I really do trust. And this is the thing. This is the reason why we work in communities that we trust. We build up trust. Like I've just been on maybe two calls with Nyla, and I trust that she does brand strategy pretty well. They're okay. So like, check it out. Then I can click on here. I can pull up her thing. I can go to her website. I can check out her LinkedIn. It's like, yeah, it works. Yeah, it works.
Exactly. And furthermore, I think I need to invite you to this page. And furthermore, oh, here. So yeah, so I'm just giving you full access to the page, and now you should be able to enter your own. Yeah, and furthermore, I've now actually worked with Nyla on
Oh,
like on
oh,
two jobs, like real, like paid jobs.
I'm not signed in. Remember, I went over
Oh
to
yeah, you're not signed in on that one. Yeah, that's why you have to, right?
here.
You should be able to. Um, and so, right, so not only can you just like look and see Nyla's thing, right? But I'm gonna like what I, the next step is like should give Nyla a badge, or a comment,
Yeah, yeah,
on her card and say, hey, I worked with Nyla, in August of 2023. She was really great. And then you could even, if you want to like work with Nyla, then before you talk to her, you could even just come to me, reach out to me and say, hey, Rob, how'd it
yeah.
go? And I think I want your, take on, can you edit yet or no?
Not yet.
Are you signed in? No, because it says try Notion, so you're not signed in.
Why did I not get signed in?
Maybe you need to
Oh,
refresh.
you know what? I was hold on though. This way, let's do this. Let's do this. So I'm signed in over there. I'm signed in here. Just let's find out. Like I think I can come here. But when I went through here, I don't think it signed me in. No, now I'm signed in.
Yeah, now you're signed in. Yeah, you weren't. Now try and click on Member Portal Home.
Yeah.
It should take you right to, yeah, okay. That's correct now. So now you should be able to edit your,
Yeah, and now I've seen the yeah, yeah,
there you go.
yeah.
Great. Yeah, yeah, you can put right your regular stuff. I'm actually gonna be right back. We can keep the recording on or whatever, play with that a little bit. I'm just gonna use the restroom real quick.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I'll narrate as I go. I'm gonna put in my LinkedIn. Oh, actually, this might really be. What? Anyway, yeah, that's that. Okay. What are the goals? Uh, Grow to science. By in September. Can I do it in 6 weeks? By end of September.
All right.
I want to. I will. How do you frame the goals? So then we can have like good skills, because this I feel is like a real decentralized worker skill to have, like to be able to fill out your profile, to understand like what you want, like what your goals are, what you have and need, like what are your challenges, what are your skills. So this would be, I think that this would be a great group activity, to where like we meet on action day and we fill out these things, because it is a community of people that understand like what their skill set are and what their goals are and what their challenges are. Like if you get a group of people that understand that and know that about each other, then
Yeah.
they work well together. I mean, that's our
Yeah.
experiment. I mean, that's the HSC, after Big Tuesday experiment. That's what we're working on, because this is not centralized overhead. Like this isn't a federalist sort of thing. This is definitely decentralized, meaning that it's just like, yeah, everybody can come and they can spend as much or as little time as they want. They can put, and the value that you put in is the value that you can sort of take out. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily monetary value at this point. It's like your time and attention and your crafting. Like, do you really, or did you craft a good goal that other people can see? Because like I've already seen a couple of goals just from browsing the member
Yeah.
directory. Or like,
Yeah.
yeah, I can, I can fulfill that need. Like
Yeah.
I have the thing that can do that. Or like the collaboration opens up, because then you see that someone has the same goal as you, and you're like, oh right, I get that, let's do that together. and then
Yeah.
and then they come, then it makes collaboration easier. The trust and reputation from being in a community, inside of a cell of a
Yeah.
unity, gated or a silo or whatever. But then being able, to come and go out of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I like that. Yeah, I'm just gonna put a note.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'll just add to that. That actually it's my contention that the value is also monetary. I mean, it's not directly like you come here and people are gonna, like you do a skill share and people are gonna pay you money, at least not so directly at first. But my contention is that, in the fact that if you are a person who wants to, that's why kind of like the ideal customer profile, if you want, for this is entrepreneurs and independent contractors, freelancers, gig workers, right? Because if you come here and you start hooking up with people, then the idea is you will find work that way.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
You would like just like Nyla did, like Troy did, like Zoe did. There's more like I have jobs like coming. It's not like, again, this isn't me like HSC, like it's my job to get people, jobs, but like there's work coming through, and I shouldn't and can't be doing all of it, and so
Right.
who am I going to go to?
Right. Yeah. I would, like, yeah, and that's at a very practical level. I think at a more less sort of at a more conceptual level or more like squishy human level, I think that when you fill out this type of profile, then you just sort of you're magnetizing yourself, and that you'll just start thinking in terms of like community contribution, you
Yeah,
know. Um,
yeah.
one
I
thing.
agree. Yeah, I
Yeah,
agree, and I think that that's right. I think that so much of the value is more on that, kind of
yeah,
squishy or magical, scale. But I think that it's a whole spectrum, of
yeah,
like the value you get. And I think that goes just from like, maybe all the way on one side is just like this value of being part of a community, and just like we know there's value there, even if I can't like sort of quantify it or name it right now, all the
yeah,
way to that practical side of like, oh, okay, I'm coming here and it's going to like help me find work, and then
yeah.
everything in
I think
between.
everything in between. Yeah, exactly. I think it would be great if because it's like a healthy ecosystem. Like if we were all here just on the spiritual path, um, and having those weird hangups about money, you know, like if we just were all hung up on money, then it's nice when there's like very practical folks, or it's like a reef, it's like a healthy ecosystem where there's a diversity of sort of interest and I don't know, commitment. Like it would be cool if people just come in, for the cakes and cookies, you know, like we
Yeah,
don't like that's actually a really good thing, you know.
I
I
think
don't.
that I think that yeah, I mean, I think that there's tremendous amount of value, and only like, that like that practical part is it's almost, I'm just highlighting that because I've actually been thinking more about that. Like if you read, like my email that I sent out yesterday,
Yeah,
I've been thinking more about just pointing to that, directly, because most of the time, like my thoughts and what I, like what I love, the magic or the alchemy is the word that came in. The alchemy is that you get
yeah,
value. It actually can turn into financial value, but you're like because you're up leveling your skills, you're up leveling your, your higher ability, you're up leveling,
yeah,
but the alchemy from that comes from the community, from the
yep,
collaboration. And so I think that, the number one thing is like, yeah, we need to have like the platform, but I think the number one thing, is that culture. And I think that's what you're talking about,
yeah,
sort of like you do those goals, if you do the goals and the challenges together, then that's creating, yeah, that community and that culture.
yeah, yeah. And then you know, it's doing it's do like how like and then just finding the sort of value in that that's easy. It's easy for people to give or easy for people to contribute, and meaningful contribution, so that it's meaningful, not just meaningful for it's the sort of win-win state where, for instance, like in a Skillshare, um like I wouldn't want Zoe or you or any or somebody. I wouldn't want a member to feel like to for them to do their what their paid for job is for us without giving them like a value exchange again. That's a lopsided. That's a that's not really a win for them, but it's a big win for us.
Yeah.
um but in that whole like learning circle thing, like the best way to learn something is to teach it. Like I would love it if somebody's just like, you know what, I want to learn JavaScript game design. So I'm going to do this coding, game jam, this month long 13K game jam. I'm going to do a hackathon, and I'm going to come in and report or I'm going to include you all. You become my, HSC becomes my audience. It's like, why am I going the extra step to document? It's like, well, I'm actually going to build a learning circle on like JavaScript game design, or like as I collect resources, I'm going to put it in a format that I can hand it off to my friends.
Yeah.
And then that helps me. That's a win for me because it helps me focus and get my, I have an audience, or I have a reason, or I have motivation. And then it helps you all because like if you have that sort of, even if at a low level, you're just like, oh yeah, I'm kind of interested in game design, or it might be interesting. Um, uh, and or like getting involved with game projects. And so now like, oh, yeah, games really need a brand manager, or games really need a digital handyman. Um, like these are opportunities, latent opportunities, like just saying, oh, look, there's a whole community of people that might need what Natalie or Zoe is offering, or somebody else.
Yeah.
Um, so being able to bring people in is yeah, I think would be really cool, because then it's the power of a network. So it's like the bigger it gets, like the more value it has.
Yeah. 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 And I think that's where, you know, soon enough or starting now, is like, is bring people in. I mean, it seems like, again, this is, I have to get the permissions, done. And then, there's other things to do, but it seems like it's at a base level of just like, start bringing people in. And what feels more, easeful, I think, much more easeful than like how we were trying to bring in people before. Again, nothing wrong with that. It was just ambitious, right? We're trying to bring people in before to say like, hey, let's like all start working together, like offering our together work to services to clients. Now we're just saying like, hey, let's come in and build, build something, a foundation for the possibility of doing that. But like, we're bringing people in for something that's very, it's very here and now, and it's very simple. But that can provide, a lot of value. Yeah. And I don't think, so this is like, right. Well, I think you probably understand what this is, but.
Well, yeah, let me just, because what I was thinking is, it's like, okay, we bring people in, it's just like and this goes back to, and I'm going to write this up as, this is sort of these community collaboration standards, or what I've been sort of thinking of them as is community primitives. Like
well, if you scroll down to the bottom of this page, you'll see that what you wrote. No, this is my checklist for shit to do. So keep scrolling.
Okay.
There's a big check, but look, there's a lot of checks. And then I wrote down.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's really good. I like, it's just helped me sort of frame things.
Oh, nice. I said this at some point before. Yeah, this is just.
Yeah. You put it into Discord.
Yeah. So we had a big, and Project Catalyst, we had a big proposal that's not closed out, but it's around community collaboration standards. And the idea was that we were going to look around at these communities and figure out like what they were doing in common, and were their standards being sort of developed.
Yeah.
And what I was thinking, I was just like, well, we're all a group, and we all have like members, and like how were people handling their membership? And there's some were doing it, with like, a spreadsheet, and some had like a real interesting, like, endorsements, which I thought was really cool. It's just like, oh yeah, you can become a voting member, or they had like different, like a non-voting member or an auditor. So like member lists are a thing. So now, like, what are the tools that go along with member lists? Like for instance, an email thing, which brings us into communication. And that idea of internal communication and broadcast communication. And then actually this gets us beautifully, gets us down to the purpose of the reason for existing, right? You know, like what are the activities? You know, this gets you down to like, okay, what do you do? Like, why do you exist? I can hear Grace talking about this. You know, she's like, okay, well, what is your, you know, your reason? And a lot of those, like especially in activist communities, are like, we, you know, do a beach cleanup, or we, you know, do a letter writing campaign for, you know, saving the whales, or we,
Yeah.
you know, we do fundraising for this, or whatever, or we're, you know, science, we investigate stuff. So that is sort of, you know, and that gets you into sort of like your like foundational documents or documentation. So it's just like, oh yeah, now those documents shouldn't be, and I do agree with this. I can definitely hear those people in my community. They're like, you know, it's just greenwashing. Like, here are our principles. It's just like some bullshit that's like that you wrote down. A lot of people are in my groups are like that. And I'm like, well, yes, but that doesn't necessarily mean that we, you know, that we shouldn't do it. And what we came around to, and this was with some of the folks that were pretty like, you know, radical. They're like, no, they're all bullshit. And then we came down to it's like, well, they are bullshit, but the process of building them isn't. Meaning that like as a community, like we're gonna make our doxology. You know, like if you go to church, a Christian church, they'll say like, oh, we believe in the so and so, and we believe in the so, and
Yeah,
everybody
yeah,
says it.
yeah.
Everybody's dead. You know, like we believe in the thing. Oh God, we're joyful union. Blah blah. Yeah. Um, because that's what happens when you write things down, it just becomes dead. But the aliveness, like the people, the original Christians, but way back when they wrote that down, for whatever reason they wrote it down,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it was super powerful to them.
Right.
And so the process of writing it down is important. And then a schedule and calendar, like events, yeah, for sure. The yeah, so I want to you know, and each one of the communities all have like an interesting take on this, and being able to sort of bring all that in, and that might become a learning community. That might become a learning community. Oh, and I'm having a super deja vu, my man.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's going on right now. um, but I am mindful of the time as well. Let's try to let's do a closing.
Yeah.
You
Well, check out. Well, there's
know?
one thing. First of all, I mean, you know, the one thing I was like, oh, I'm excited for Newman to do is so go up to the contribution log, right? The
Okay.
value exchange contribution log.
Well, wait a minute. Oh, here it is. Yeah.
All right. And you attended this meeting, so like, add it to the log, man.
Nice. Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, verification comment.
Yeah, verification, right? Comment. I mean, I still have to, you know, essentially the, you know, the idea is like, you know, because right now this thing is very, you know, it's in Notion, right? So people just can add whatever they want. So the idea is, you know, if you you know, gave some sort of value exchange, if you did some job or some quest, or if you helped somebody, if you spent an hour with somebody, if you know, I mean, attending the meeting's a little easier, but I can verify it. You know, is that like somebody, the person who the recipient, you know, or the verifier, you know, we need somebody else to verify that you did the
Oh,
thing.
yeah. There you go. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah. So if you add a new record, and then you know,
yeah, like just what we did before the personal catch up.
oh well, I just put the yeah, whatever you think it is. I mean, I've been
but
putting
you know,
attended,
I get the idea. Yeah, for sure. And then
attended community meeting.
oh,
Like
wait a
those.
minute.
Well, I gave you credit for one already.
Oh, yeah. Okay, then today is the 15th. Okay, so let's just do another one, right?
Yeah.
And does it matter if I
No,
change the
no, I don't think it
the date
matters.
format? And this would have been HSC development.
Sure, if you think, I mean, I want to leave it. So somebody else can do
Oh,
that, but go and put the contributor, put your name. I think that one I'm only having people do one of them, you know, for the
yeah.
category.
Yeah. So
And so then someone else would do that. Sorry, yeah, you should walk through it because
yeah. I still don't know verification comment added.
yeah,
That might be
I have to explain it. So here, let me because right, okay, so add the recipient verifier. So go ahead and just add me.
okay. But you would normally do this. You would come in and do this.
Right, but the point, so here, this is why it needs to be a comment, right? Because like you can't like it doesn't really work if you know if the person who makes the record can verify it. So, but what I'm going to
Right.
do,
Yeah.
you know, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to actually go into the card right now, and I'm going to make a comment. I'm going to say, new man was totally here. All right, and now I've made a comment. So you can see there's a little bubble there.
Oh.
And if you go in there, you have to, yeah, click on, you should be able to just click on that. Maybe you have to click on the open thing or in the top right. See, this is why, you know, in the end, I don't think, you click out of it. Yeah, open. I don't think Notion's gonna be the best, but right. So I give
See,
a, so nobody can give a comment as me. Somebody can like list me as on the record like that, but nobody can
I
give
could I could put this like I was totally here.
Yeah, exactly. And then it's like, but you know, are you verifying yourself? Or saying,
Yeah,
all right, so then
it.
now, and that's what that check mark is. I have to put some instructions or something, you know. Now I say there's a check mark there, which means verified.
Right.
I might turn it to wiki. Oh, and then the last thing you do is you go, right? Again, these aren't there aren't instructions yet, but go down further down there and put in the time, right? So now we're putting in, you know, things aren't tokenized yet, but we still want to put in, you know, how many hours did you put in? I mean, at the end, it's gonna, you know, probably be 2, but it's fine now. So it's also interesting. This is an interesting activity, right? Because if you were doing like some hardcore proposal writing or, you know, learning management, something, you know, and you're going to give your kind of your hourly rate value, your market rate, you might put, you know, 50, 70, you know, $100 an hour or something.
Right.
You know, for the community meeting, you know, could you just say, hey, my time, my value is $100 an hour across the board? Yeah, you could do that. Or you could say like, oh, you know, for coming to a community meeting, yeah, it's my time is still worth something. I'm still putting in value, but is it the same that I would charge for something else?
So
right? It's exploration.
Yeah, and it is different. It is different per. So like if I had developed, so I was just at a meeting earlier and somebody convened the meeting and like posted a an agenda. They created an agenda. They did an alert. They sent out a like, hey, the meeting's starting. They turned it on the Zoom. They recorded. They facilitated. They took management responsibility for like running the meeting. Running the meeting is different. Somebody else had like a section where they had prepared and where it was like an agenda item, and they did like a 15-minute talk. Now that's different than just sort of visiting. I took notes and I've looked. I was like, oh fuck, man! I always take notes, and I was just like, oh, I would love to like listen in, and like I take notes naturally, but it is more like if I'm just taking notes for myself or versus just sort of doing it. But each one of those, like there are different value, like what I would consider like what my value for being there. So if you just attend a meeting, maybe it's $0 or $5 or $10 or whatever. But if you host a meeting, then then it's like for sure.
Yeah,
Let's put
right.
in 15 an hour for this.
Because sometimes and sometimes, right, you might take notes the whole time, and you might even put in a whole different record, a different record. You say, was note taker at the, at the meeting.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna user testing. Let's see which one it is. Here we go. Not a skill share, probably this one, or if there's a quest. So there may be a quest for user testing, and then if it would do it, but
there
do
could be, yeah,
this,
either way. Right, and then I have to verify. Yeah, that's.
And then over here is where I put me.
Yeah, you got to put yourself in. You can change your icon, but I had you as a floppy disk.
Floppy disk. That's awesome. No one knows what that is. And then with this, and then this, and then this, we only did this for a 0.5 hour, and this I charged 30 an hour for, right? Boom. So that's how you think. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And somebody else,
another
right?
car.
And somebody else might come and say like, hey, and I kind of like doing this like first, as an exercise. I would have to go and write a comment to verify that.
Well, but I could also comment like, okay, this is.
Oh yeah, you could. Yeah, just put empty, or click and just click in there, and then you can start typing. Yeah. So you could write. Yeah, you could write on it. But it's interesting. I like it because somebody else might be like, oh, I'm testing the port. Like I'm like, somebody else might be like, no, that's like, $5, or something. And somebody could come along, like you and I kind of do this thing, I think are the same, where it's like, okay, I'm doing this role. So my value, I feel like my value, shifts as far as the role that I'm doing, the work that I'm doing, maybe somebody I'm doing, somebody could come along and say, look, my time is important. If I'm here, that means I can't be earning money or doing something else somewhere. So my value is always, $200 an hour or something, and it's like, all right, who's right? Who's wrong?
No. Yeah.
In this way, it's nice because we don't have to like, and it gets into like, really gets into like this question, because we're exploring in a way where it isn't like in the real world where it's basically how much somebody will pay you, it's dependent on the market.
Or how much you can negotiate. And there is a rule in New York City where your pay has to be public, or you have to disclose like payment and whatnot. I think that's like a real, it's one of those things that adds to the hangups around money. It's just like, it should be open. It should be transparent. Like one of the community standard things that I was like, I would love to go to a community where everyone knows. It's kind of like NASCAR, or there was like a proposition for like government officials to like, who's paying them, it's like, who are you being funded by? And I really like that in these decentralized communities, because you'll roll in and you don't know who's being paid. And I've gone to meetings where I'm like, am I the only one here that's not being paid in some way? What are your incentives and what are your drivers? Like, money can be that thing, but and I wonder where our hangups come from. But I do think there's some way of disclosing like our effort during these things. It's like, oh yeah, I'm here as a facilitator and I'm being paid this much, or I'm here as a student and I am paying this much. You know what I mean? Like I'm paying money in, and that way, that's one of the cool things about money. The whole like follow the money thing, like it can be made visual. It can be visualized. The transactions, and that's a big thing about digital currencies. It's like, oh yeah, we've got all the data. The data can be visualized. Once we see the visualization, we can see the patterns, and we can manage it in a much more human way.
Right. And so go back to the member portal now, and again, this is low tech, but still, if you go back to the member directory, sorry. Now on your card, you're going to see, 4 hours and
Oh,
maybe
snap.
750, right? So
Yes, man, yes.
yeah. And it's a way of, right? It is a way of like, if somebody, if I have an offering and somebody's like, hey, can you work with me for an hour? And I look and I see that they've, like they've been in here for 3 months and they haven't contributed to anything, I might be like, well, I don't want to like only base it on that, but this just, again, it's just it's a collaboratory
Yep.
laboratory.
Yep. Yeah. The collaboratory laboratory, definitely. And I think that's a good, one. For instance, like we do have tokenomics in another one of these Gimbal labs, a community, and they have a Gimbal token. They, create our own thing. Like we could easily make, like, before we get off the call, we could make our own, currency. We could have, Rob Bucks
Yeah.
and HSC Huevos, whatever,
Co-op
and
tokens.
block tokens, yeah. And
Co-op.
and the and that would be a fun way of visualizing it. And then you could just say, yeah. And then the problem with our own currency is like people will, it needs to be like hot, and in ADA, everyone knows that Hosky tokens are like a, super inflated, like you can get 1 million Huskies every day, and so you should be able to just like, oh yeah, and that is actually that's a pretty good thing. It's just like everybody that comes, like if you do any activity, then you get 1,000, or you get you get 1 token. It's like everybody gets a token every day that they're a member in good standing. And then you can freely sort of trade them, and everyone understands it's like a standard. It's like going
Yeah.
on the beer standard. It's just like when
Yeah.
I was just in Iceland, I was like, well, how much is a beer? It's like, oh, a beer is 1,000, or how much is a smoothie, actually? Because when I went there, I was jet lagged, and my brother-in-law, or my girlfriend's brother was like, uh, they're like, you sure you're good to drive? Like I was passing out in the front seat. They were going to drive it. I was going to drive their kid and
Oh
Jean
yeah.
over to do stuff while
Right.
they did something. They're like, are you good to drive? I was like, no, no, no. And I tried real hard not to fall asleep anymore. But they kind of like, when they came back, like they got out of the spa, they're like, hey, we'll just drive from now on. And I was like, oh no, I got it, because I went and got this smoothie, right?
Oh
And
yeah, yeah.
I didn't know what the money was. I didn't change any money. I didn't know what the exchange rate was. I just saw that it was 1,200, Iceland kroner, and and so I was like, I don't know what it is. Let's just give me this, green smoothie with energetic stuff in it, and I got it. And then we went up to the museum, and it was like 10 times the smoothie. I was just like, how much did I pay for that smoothie? How much does this museum cost? I was like, well, it's 10 smoothies for each of us to get in here. I was like, I think
Oh
I might
yeah,
have paid
yeah, right.
I
So
think
then
I
you
might have
had
paid
a
20
frame
bucks
of
for the
reference.
smoothie. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
All
yeah.
that is to say is that there's fun stuff that we can do with tokenomics.
Well, there's fun stuff, yeah. And I think, right, like there, absolutely. And I think that everybody like seems like they want to do that or utilize that or explore that. Maybe not Zoe,
Yeah.
but everybody else. And, but that's right. See, that's and that's also, I think that's another quest, right? That's something where it's like, hey, like let's take the lead on developing the tokenomics. But before we go, because I know we talked about the time, I do have two
Yeah.
specific questions, and yeah, and by all means, put in a quest.
Yeah, nice.
All right, so there's a couple things. Well, first of all,
Hey, this is great. I want to give you kudos for building this out. This is really, really great. Okay, just so I'm saying that. Okay, go ahead.
thank you. Yeah, awesome. Well, you're right. Now there's 3. But okay, so but the first question, as far as like, within the meeting, thinking, I really have the sense that that this thing should wants to be like a paid for membership, a paid for community. And I know that puts a higher gate up, right?
Yeah.
But I think what it does is, I think if it's not, I think in the end, maybe not like at first, maybe maybe the next 3 months
Oh boy, you're breaking up. You stopped. I can't hear you anymore. Can you hear me? My video's going and I can hear. I'm gonna stop my share really quick. Hey, you went away, bro. Yeah, okay. I see your text message. Okay, I'll stay right here.